We've been talking at length about the 360 deal model. What do you think about a subscription-based model? I've read a little about that, and not so sure how I feel about it.
I think subscription-based models, as in a friend of mine, Tim Quirk, who works at Rhapsody, he's big on this because he's important to Rhapsody. I think the idea of being able to pay a monthly fee and have access to millions of songs sounds like a very good idea. And I see some benefits to it. If you could have everything, you wouldn't have to go own everything and have, like for instance, I've purchased 7,000 CDs. It's a big problem if I want to go move. It'd be nice to have fewer objects and have what was once called the celestial jukebox, that you can get music anywhere you want, when you want it, and all that. That's a very nice idea. On the other hand, some people would say, I don't want to rent my music. And maybe it's difficult to know what you want, when you want. Also, the idea of renting the music or the subscription service can be a bit funny because we are an ownership society. We like to own things. I'm proud of my books, my CDs, my records. Maybe I'm proud of my furniture or paintings I buy or things I create. And the idea of owning is still very important, especially now when you can own and it can be stored digitally, where if I can have my 7,000 CDs onto a hard drive the size of an iPod, my life would be much better. So I think I'm one who still prefers ownership because in my case, I want to edit. And those people, I want to take choruses out and intros and bridges, and I want to put them together in unusual ways. Well, that gets to the idea also, which we could get into, this idea of what a mashup is, and creating music digitally from the digital music you have. I think, but to get back to subscription, it's very good for some people. It might be a good way of being able to discover some music. But it won't let you, at least as far as I know, it's harder anyway. If you can probably purchase from subscription services. I know you can. But what if you want to still own it and you want to edit it? You want to make mix tapes, mix CDs, mix MP3, set list or whatever for friends. You can't really do that in a normal way with a subscription service. So I don't know that I want a subscription service personally because I would have to, I already have so much I own, that's asking a gigantic, that'd be some big changes I'd have to make. Say, wait a second now, if I have them anyway, it's not that much trouble, or it's already in my iPod. So for a lot of us, we're too far into the old way, and we're too used to the old way to change to the celestial jukebox of a subscription service. I think they're good for some people. I don't think they will be as big as some people think they're going to be. But again, it's one of the many nice options. And that's the way things are going these days. You have to be able to receive your music the way you want it, and when you want it, and where. Things have to change, and subscription, I'm glad it's there, and it's going to provide revenue for people, and good. If it takes off more, I'd be happy. Just that I don't think I will opt for it.
What are the limits comparing, ownership and a subscription-based service? Like, what can I do with a CD I purchase? How many copies can I make? Can I loan it indefinitely to a family member or a friend? Or how many copies can I have for myself? Versus a subscription-based service,
Yeah, a subscription-based service, some of the details I'm not familiar with because I don't have one. I had Rhapsody for a while on a PC, on I think a Dell computer. At the time they didn't have them for Macintosh, and I had a Dell in my office. There was just more to it than I wanted to deal with in terms of letting other people have access to it. I don't remember now if it was password protected. Could you use your account at different computers? You should be able to. You should be able to use it on several computers. Many of us have 3 computers we use. I probably have about 8, but 3 I'm using an awful lot. Why shouldn't I be able to do the same on all these computers? And if then one is I loan it to my friend to use or a relative, why shouldn't I be able to access it, have the friend access it on my account? Or is that a problem? I mean, maybe that goes against the terms of service, and that's probably depriving them of a subscription. So, you know, where does that go? There's probably ways you can do it. People can, you know, pass passwords along and various things like that. When it comes to now, you know, the idea of the subscription versus the physical ownership, with a CD, can you loan a CD? Can you burn a copy for a friend? Can you burn many copies? If you have 3 residences and you teach at a university, shouldn't you own 4 copies of that CD? You bought it once, but you want to own it, have 4 physical copies. There's 2 ways of answering that. What can you do in terms of the technology and the capability? And the second one would be, what does the law say you can do or prohibit you from doing? 2 different questions. I think you should be able to make copies. I think the technology is there. What if it's a CD? What if it's my music and that I composed and I put it on? I put it onto a CD. I put it in my hard drive. Why shouldn't I be able to make a lot of copies and not have a record label, for example, of some small artist who's burning his own CDs and selling them at his shows? Now, if it's someone else's CD, that gets to the interesting question that people in copyright face, and just normal people face. Can't I burn a copy of this CD and give it to a friend? Can I loan my CD if my friend says he's not going to burn a copy? What if he says, I am going to burn a copy, I'm loaning it to you? Is that legal? Do normal citizens have to know the answer to those legal questions? Or is that just a question of ethics? Okay, if you look, a literal reading of the law says that, you know, you cannot, that someone who owns the copyright has exclusive rights and can exclude others from doing these things, from making copies. So according to one reading of the law, I can say, well, you can't do it. But realistically, why wouldn't that be a fair use to make one copy, an archival copy, a backup copy? Like I want to keep one in this house and one in my university office, or I have 2 residences and a university office. Why can't I have 3 copies? I would read the law to say I can, and I would happily go do that. Now, taking my iPod instead and moving my iPod might be a way around having to make copies. And loaning my iPod, could I give an MP3, make a copy of my MP3 and give it to someone? Of course you can. If the law says you can't, I think the law has got a problem, because it's going to be violated because it can be. And it doesn't, most people don't perceive that they're breaking a law by making a copy of their favorite songs and giving it to a friend as a birthday present, a Christmas present or something, just as a gift, like, I want you to hear this stuff, I made you a copy. It seems like if you took 15 songs from 15 different CDs, actually a student did this for me the other day. She said something like, I don't have an oven in my dorm, and I want to thank you for, I'd given her time for an interview. And she's very nice, and she gives me, because she can't bake me cookies, she bakes me a CD. Yeah. And it's got like 19 songs from 19 different CDs. And I accepted, said, thank you very much. I didn't go ahead and say, you shouldn't do this. Well, she shouldn't, if she could cook for me, she probably shouldn't cook for me, because how much is she going to cook for me? It might be bad for my health. Mm-hmm. But is this bad for the law? Is this bad for the music industry? What she's doing is making an unauthorized copy, or 19 songs from 19 CDs, and giving them to me, and I'm not going to go, you know, hawk them or something. I'm not going to upload them. You know, I'm not going to fool on a peer-to-peer network. I'm going to learn from the music and accept the gift in the nice way it was intended. I'm going to learn more about music. I'm better off for it. Some of the stuff is already very interesting. I'll probably go purchase some of the music of certain artists. I haven't even heard the whole CD yet. I see the good in that, but is that a violation of the law? Yeah, it probably is. Mm-hmm. But is it worth, you know, copyright, it's hard to respect copyright sometimes when copyright owners can be like thugs and be kind of, you know, vicious and nasty towards people. When it's a $150,000 fine for downloading one song from the internet, If you're on a peer-to-peer network and you download 10 songs, and those are 10 conscious, intentional violations of copyright, that can be $150,000 per song, which means those 10 songs cost you $1.5 million. You can't find normal human beings who think downloading 10 songs should cost you $1.5 million when, okay, paid the 10, or let's really punish you. Pay you $2 per song for being a lawbreaker. How about fining you $10? And then, so it should be maybe $20 fine. It shouldn't be $1.5 million. So copyright, it can be confusing enough. It can be extremely antiquated and absurd, the fact I can't copy stuff. Copyright owners can also, if I can just get into this one little beef I have with professional sports. I know professional sports, I know those events are copyrightable events. I know they're sort of works of authorship, or whatever you want to call them. They do fall under the guise of the Copyright Act. It's copyrightable stuff. So it's at the end of every baseball game, football game, basketball game. I'll quote baseball. I know how this goes. I've heard it every time there's a ninth inning. Any account of the events of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is strictly prohibited. Okay, any account of the events of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. It doesn't say any written account, broadcast account, selling account. It says any account. That means me calling my mother. My mother lives in Boston. She can always see the Red Sox on television. And I can't. I just have to kind of show you this, I think. Boston Red Sox, we won the World Series last night. I very much know what that statement from Major League Baseball, I know they're the copyright owners. I have it memorized. I've heard it hundreds and, no, thousands of times in my life. I understand it. And I will not respect the copyright owners on this. I want many accounts of this game. I'm not going to ask for Major League Baseball's permission to talk to my mother. I'm going to try to entice her to violate the Federal Copyright Act because I want to know about the game. And I'm going to keep doing this till the day I die. I'm going to encourage other people to violate the Copyright Act because there's sports going on. And we need to know what happened in this game. I'm on my cell phone. I'm hiking in the woods. I want to know how, are we ahead in the third quarter? How's Brady doing? Has Randy Moss made 2 touchdown catches today or 1? You know, when copyright owners start to make preposterous claims, and you know, these are lawyers writing this up, they didn't have to use the words any account. They could have said, you know, they could have thrown in a couple phrases to tone this down. For commercial purposes are prohibited. But they say these kinds of foolish claims, and other copyright owners make other similar foolish claims. Then we, the public, say they can't mean it, or we don't respect it. It goes against our sense of ethics and right and wrong, and we're going to go violate the law. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons you should violate the copyright law. There's one. If you send an email, someone sent you a funny joke and you send it on, maybe it's more than a joke, maybe it's a paragraph of something. If you forward that email on, you violated the Copyright Act. You know, there's all kinds of ways you can violate a Copyright Act, but some of the things are just not serious. And some of the claims and what the copyright owners want from you are absurd and need to be ignored. And I think it would also fall into fair use as well.